Yeah, I was a lot more involved earlier on. Towards the end, cutting, towards finishing up the filming itself and going into the editing and looking at distribution and sales. Not so much. That's not my industry. It's not my expertise. They're smarter. They're smart enough to not rely on me for those things. But when it came to coordinating this hexagon behind the scene or that hexagon in this location, and can we get these people together, I was very, very involved actually. So, and that was a lot of fun. It was really cool to kind of, be working on something that's going to benefit the hexagons behind the scenes, even if you weren't getting any kind of recognition for it. But we were very involved, especially me and RG3. Big K had a really big role, not just as a producer, but like putting things together and some really cool content ideas. Um, Rackham, I got to give the guy credit. He did a lot for the movie. Toby Wan Kenobi did a lot for the movie. So thanks to those guys, they dragged us across the finish line with what was needed on resources and things of that nature for additional things we didn't think we were going to go for at first. Can I say anything about that? Let's just say there's award shows that we're trying to qualify for, and you need a PR campaign for that. And some of those guys really, really helped in those regards. So that's probably the most I should say about that.
Award show, yeah. I wanted to ask too. I know you tweeted about a premiere in August. What was that about? I didn't quite understand what that was.
So the directors reached out to RG and I and said, "Hey, we're gonna watch the movie. You want to see the full final cut on it?" And we were like, "Of course we do." So we had to make sure that we only had a certain amount of people to continue qualifying for some of these award shows. Only so many people can be at the theater at the time of viewing, and so since RG has a very prominent role within the film itself, he invited some really close friends of the family with him as well as his family. And be quite honest, my wife's like, I don't care, whatever, go have fun. So I just went myself. She doesn't care anything about crypto. She is a dedicated, hardworking mom, loves our family, loves God, and those are the only things that matter to her in this life. So when it comes to money and crypto, she could give up two rats about it. We could live poor, and as long as we were a close family, she'd be extremely, extremely happy. So it helps to have actually that side of our family that keeps me very, very grounded. But you know me, I wanted to see that film. Like, I've been working on this for almost a year. Like, yes, I want to see this film. And so we went and checked it out. We didn't get to see it with the final score. They're like a 40-piece orchestra is what the final score is going to be made. I mean, you want to talk about, and just the placer music that they put in there gave you the feels. I can't imagine what a 40-piece orchestra with the background that this individual has in making film scores is going to do for this film. So I think it'll just take it another level or two up. But yeah, man, it was great. It was one thing I will tell all the Hexicans out there: if you guys were expecting a puff piece and a shill fest for Hex, you will not be getting that in this. This shows the peaks and the valleys of Hex, and it gives real objective thought and a real objective look at not just the coin, but also the founder. And you guys are a lot of you guys are gonna be really upset that it wasn't enough or wasn't friendly enough, but it needed to be objective, and it needed to yes. really scrutinize the project, and it needed to scrutinize our founder. And take every single one of the Richard Hart debates leading up over the last 2.5, 3 years, all the way up to the point of this movie. You could roll them all together, and the aggregate of them together is not as tough on Richard Hart as this movie is. So,
I always think it's weird when people don't want to hear criticism or even entertain it, or it's just like, that's part of the story. That's how these things. You can't just tell everyone
it makes it entertaining.
All this nice guy, and then they go Google him and they see all this other stuff. No, you want to get it all out on the table and be like, this is
100%.
From fixing air conditioners to lawyers to billionaire to Gucci. You want to see everything, no matter what it's like.
100%.
And I'm so glad that the integrity of film is like that.
I hate to say, I hate to use a fictional movie like 8 Mile, but at the very end, when you throw all your dirty laundry out on the table first, as Eminem does in 8 Mile at the very end, what does Quincy or whatever his name is have to come back at you with? You already aired out all your dirty laundry. It's already on the table. Like, it's already been addressed. Let's move on to the next thing. But I think if a billion people see this film, I believe at least 10% of the people will invest in Hex. I really do. And I think ultimately, and I actually think that's very conservative. I think more than that will actually want to look into it and want to learn more about it, because it makes a very compelling case. And they did this through the art and science of storytelling. And that's what's amazing, is it's very compelling to want to drag out of you this curiosity about finding more. Where do I find more about this Hex? Where do I find more about Richard Hart? So I think the SEO and the Google searches are going to go through the roof. We looked at so if you look at the documentary Trust No One, about the Quadriga CX guy and him just supposedly dying overseas, and no one knows for sure if he just ran off with the money, or $160 million, I think, is what Quadriga CX ran off with. If you look at that, they went from like almost no Google searches to like 20,000 on the day of release, and it sustained through weeks. Can you imagine 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 hex.com SEO searches on Google and Richard Hart searches? I think it's to me it's the most bullish fundamental out there. Without looking at lines on a chart, I think it's the most bullish fundamental of all of crypto, as far as it as an indicator is concerned.
Well, that's, I went back. I'm totally agree with this. Extremely bullish for Hex, for PulseChain, for the people getting into Richard Hart, seeing what he's about, understanding the mission he's on, and financial freedom. One of the most important things I could even imagine that we could put together to make that happen. When I talk to people about it, I get various opinions. Though some people, I don't think it's going to matter that much. Get a lot of comments. The average person is not going to care. Nobody watches crypto documentaries, things like that. How would you, I guess, is there anything to those type of criticisms of the film, or do you think that just the overall power of this is just going to like magnify Richard so much that everyone outside of crypto is going to be interested no matter what? Like, how do you think about that?
I don't measure it in hey, nobody watches crypto documentaries. I look at it as, is this a net positive? Are more eyes going to see this? Even if it's not a billion eyes, if only 100 people see this, do you not think that that's a net positive to Hex? Is that not 100 people that may not have seen Hex or maybe see Hex years down the road, but we saved them a couple years and it saved their financial future? So I just look at it as more of a net positive. Is it a net positive? It may not help as much as everyone thinks, but it'll help more than it won't. So
yeah, I mean, there's after this been filming and stuff for a year or two now. I think there's a lot of high expectations, or I guess, should we have expectations of a documentary? I don't know. Is that part of the sacrifice for the documentary?
I'll tell you what. It's funny because they didn't even use 1/100th of the amount of film footage they got. It was very much set up in a way that this could continue on. This doesn't necessarily have to be the end of the story. The beginning, maybe, but not necessarily the end of the story. So there's a lot of opportunity for ongoing eyeballs going forward. So I think it's if you watch it, and when you guys get to, it is next level production, in my opinion. It's not it doesn't come across as a student film. It's some guys from Columbia grabbed some cameras and went to work. No. It is definitely worthy of coming from a 5-time Emmy award-winning film crew as they are. So it's high level production.
Well, that's an angle that I haven't thought of either. Like, is this the first of a few documentaries, or the first of the introduction and then a docu-series, because we got so much footage. Wow.
Yep. A lot of different, and that's to be seen. Whoever picks up the film may want to do ongoing, may want to turn it into a docu-series, may want to do a bunch of mini series or whatever it may be. We're pretty open to the ideas. I don't know a lot of that right now, Connor. So, and I couldn't tell you who the top runner for picking up the film is right now. I haven't, over the last 2 weeks, I haven't really, haven't reached out to them. I know they're busy. So I haven't really picked up on that. My curiosity is not killing me. I know they're going to do the best for getting the most eyeballs on it. So we had two objectives that we could choose from when we first. So me, Big K, and RG sat down with the directors at a really nice steakhouse before we even got started, before we decided to come on, and they were pitching the idea on us. And we think there's something here. We think this could be something great. Like, and having a founder like this that's so flamboyant and over the top is really like, you have this main center character that this whole piece can gravitate around. Like, we really think that we have something that will be seen and can be award winning. And he said, but we need to know, if you guys get on board, what would be your biggest objective? Would you want to maximize how much money you can make off of this? Or would you rather maximize the amount of exposure to Hex and the amount of eyes that see that Richard Hart and Hex? And it was a hands down for all three of us, like eyes, exposure. Like,
Definitely.
I believe even if us three here at the table aren't wealthy yet, we will be, thanks to Hex. And, the more eyes that see it, the more likely that is to happen. And it'd be way more profitable than anything we would ever make off the movie anyway. So we just knew that, as a service to the community, as well as a service to our own crypto holdings, that getting the maximum number of eyes on this film was by far and away the biggest priority since the very beginning.
And as far as distributors go, like who are some of the ones that would be, everyone says Netflix, everyone wants Netflix, don't know how practical Netflix is, but like, who are some of the distributors? People are kind of guessing like which ones would
so my next comment is purely speculative and is purely opinion, and not necessarily the opinion of the film crew or anyone else involved. But I think the story is dynamic and it's appealing and it's entertaining, that I don't think if any of these distribution companies and or over the top, which is the streaming companies, over the top just is what the actual industry term is for the Netflix and Hulu's and Prime Video of the world. But there's also the option for distribution to theaters and things of that nature as well, so there's and it depends on what the different players really want to do with this, and the offer they come to the table with. But I think it's good enough to be top tier, any of them, personally. And I'm not just saying that because I'm involved with it and that's what I want to see. Yeah, obviously my hope is there, but like I said, the quality of the movie itself and the content within the movie and how entertaining it is and how objective it is, seeing, having that conflict, that rife between one side saying it's a scam and the other saying it made me millions. So I think it's super compelling, and I don't see any reason why there's not a single company out there that isn't interested in picking this up.
Do you think we 10x holders? We get to 1 million holders with the documentary?
Oh, I think that'd be easy. So, well, technically, what do we have? 300,000 stakers. I haven't checked the numbers as of late. And let's imagine the average user has 3 wallets. So there's 100,000 stakers. We 10x the amount of stakers to 1 million. We got to what, almost $300 billion market cap with 100,000 potential holders. So you 10x that. Yeah, I think we got something there, man. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I think we're early. You got a product market fit, immutable code, 100% uptime, walled garden. We got gatekeeping from the elements out there that actually allow the public to learn about the coin. And as all of these things play to our strengths, it's just a matter of time. And that T-share rate keeps going up every day. So yeah, I think we could see $1 trillion market cap on the next bull run with X. I could be wrong, but I think it's possible.
Well, that's the answer to